Yo, what's going on out there, YouTube family? This is Samuel Leggy here representing Team JVS. I gotta talk to you guys about a show I watched on Amazon Prime. It's still available right now in 2020. And I'm talking about the show called Wayne. Now, this was co-produced by the creators of Deadpool. And that was the thing that kind of enticed me into it. But then I looked at the very first trailer and I was like, this is insanity. Straight up. Like, I don't know, who is this character Wayne? Who is this character Delilah? Who is this character the Sergeant? Like, why is there death, destruction, and like a lot of vulgar verbiage as well as incessant violence throughout, but yet the sprinkle of like integrity and love and security of this character Wayne that is a very interesting anti-hero in and of himself. And I was blown away by Wayne. I actually really feel like it was one of the most entertaining shows I saw last year, on the same levels in the veins of like Doom Patrol or even like Umbrella Academy, in terms of like just how out there it was. But it wasn't like there's anything supernatural going on other than Wayne and what he's truly capable of, what he's willing to do by any means necessary. But the thing about it is that, man, hold on, let me back up. Because I was going to go and say, I need more. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, this one for me was a 9 or a 10 out of 10 first season. I felt like the camera angles, the choreography of a lot of the fights felt very natural and very intense. The way that a lot of the characters are actually filmed and shot, in terms of like, people being introduced and then being called back to, like, everybody seems like they almost have their own like vibrance, their own color, their own like what's the word? There's an aura around each character that shows off who they are on an individual basis, but it orbits around this character Wayne. Now, as far as what they're able to do with the established story, it all circulates, of course, around Wayne, but it also devies into other characters, like personalities, where they come from, what they are, what they're capable of. And the thing about it, I had to commend this, is that this is so intense. There was never a moment that I didn't feel like, man, that character could die. I never felt like this moment, like this person's arm might get chopped off. I never felt like this person like might lose an eye or be gouged. Like something, it was never a point that I felt like any character, even though I was like, it might be a little bit of armor there in terms of whether or not they're gonna die or not, but what would physically happen to them or what might not happen to them goes out the door in the first episode. In the first episode, you got Wayne. He has his first interactions with Delilah's or Dell's parent. And off rip, I was like, if that is going to happen, then anything is liable to happen by the end of this. And it's just insane. It's absurd. Michael O'Malley plays the principal Tom. He's hilarious. I actually really love him, and Joshua Williams Orlando, they work very well together. Especially pretty hilarious. Francisco Antonio played the role of Reggie. His character is a very, what's the word? Iconic character, because he very much so plays like the main villain, but there's levels to him. Like, he's funny, he's sick, and he's just as crazy and demented and dangerous as Wayne actually is. Now, this is where we start going into the very interesting territory, because Claire Bravo and Mark McKenna, they play the role of Dell and Wayne. Now, Mark, he, in my personal opinion, he's my pick for Jason Todd. Like, he is able to do two different things, which is very hard. He is a character that is a loner, is like very much so about his principles, and also a very kind soul at his core, but he is a rebel, he is violent, he is unpredictable, and he is a machine. Like, some of the things that Wayne does in this show is out there. Again, it very much so parallels to the other side of the spectrum, where all the integrity, all the things I talked about, the different personifications of the good things about Wayne, Reggie is the opposite of that. Like, but then he maintains and keeps the same amount of craziness and capability. And that's what makes their interactions towards the back half so interesting, because there is a true plot to this. Because the main character, Wayne, he's on this excursion to go and get his dad's vehicle that was entitled to him. And I don't want to spoil anything about what happens in between, but his dad is very sick. He's also dealing with certain circumstances. And Dell, she has this interaction with Wayne, who she ends up following along. To much to everybody's dismay, because everybody is looking for Wayne from a negative standpoint or a positive standpoint. It's just where this road leads, we don't know. Now, this is the other thing. Again, I was talking about Mark, but I got to talk about Sierra Bravo, who plays the role of Dell. She is a very, she's a balanced character, but she has so many different layers to her, because she's violent. She is a liar. She's a thief. She's a poser. But then at the same time, she is a ride or die. Like, at the end of the day, like, she very much so cares about people. But you have to see those different layers getting peeled apart, because when we first interact with her, we first see her, you know off rip that there's something a little off, but you don't know what she's truly capable of. And I even towards the end, I really still feel like I don't know truly what this character is capable of, and that is contributed to Sierra's performance and what she brought to the character, because she has an innocent face, she has an innocent demeanor about her, but the verbiage and the communication, that's another thing that I feel like is really good, is their their accent and their verbiage. It is so on key, because it makes it so much more interesting and engaging, because they fit in everywhere. It's not like, you know, they fit in this certain line. Like, no, like the way that they speak, the way they interact, they can be anywhere. And that's the other thing. From a site and a location standpoint, every single episode, you don't know where they're going to end up. You don't know where things are going to go. You don't know how deadly the situation is going to be. There's one episode where Wayne gets kidnapped. And again, this is not even a spoiler, because a lot of other crazy things do happen. But let's just say Wayne is kidnapped and he's about to be tortured. And like, when you get the resolution in that, you're like, oh my gosh. That's when I realized, you know, that anything can happen in this show. Like, straight up, anything. There's not one thing that anything could happen. That's all I'm going to really say. Again, this is a very violent, vulgar, it's not a whole bunch of like nudity or sex or anything like that, but the language and the verbiage and the incessant amount of violence is definitely there. But there's also a lot of love there. There's a lot of heart there. There's a lot of connection there. And then you got random characters like Stephen Kieran and James Earl, who played the officer and the sergeant. They are so weird. Like, weird. I mean, what I mean by weird is that they got their own little backstories and reasons why they're trying to track down Wayne and why they're getting involved. And by the end of it, you're like, whoa, these are some interesting characters. And it just goes off. It goes all over the place, but in a really good complete way. I really feel like this was actually a sleeper hit. This is probably one of my favorite shows that I've seen in 2020. Even Dean Winters, he plays the interesting role of Dell's dad, and he's no pushover either. again, everybody in this is pretty out there, but in different ways and in different effect. And I think that this is something that's a gem. I know I'm being very vague, but you just gotta see it for yourself to understand what I'm really saying. Go and check out Wayne as soon as possible on Amazon Prime. Maybe we can get a second season out of this, because this show in and of itself is more than deserving of it, in my personal opinion. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Got a lot more content coming for you guys. Got a couple different reviews for a couple older movies and newer movies, and I can't wait to talk about them. Peace, guys.